Welcome to Trenchometry. If you've spent any time in or around the trenches, playing offensive line isn't just blocking, it is chess at light speed. You're controlling angles while 280-pound defender tries to destroy your running back. Every snap, calculating leverage, mirroring footwork, and anchoring against pure violence. Miss one step and your franchise player gets flattened. We're here to discuss the most undervalued aspect of the game of football, the offensive line. Remember, you master the trenches, you win the war. My guest today is a citizen of the Conch Republic hailing from Key West, Florida. At 6'5", over 300 pounds, he's a redshirt junior who plays guard for the Seminoles of Florida State. He's one of the more athletic offensive linemen the Seminoles play and has been credited with having the ability to move people out of the way as his greatest attribute on the field. He brings with him an extremely athletic background, having been a regional champion wrestler and a state finisher in both track and field and wrestling. He caught my eye with his desire to be a filmmaker, and his social media is evidence of his skill set already honed and remarkable for its quality. He brings all that power and athleticism and also possesses a large brain capacity with his perfect GPA coming out of high school. So today, I would like to welcome Mr. Andre Otto to Trenchometry. Andre, welcome, man. So glad you're here.
Thank you for having me. I'm stoked.
This is cool. I haven't had a chance to interview anybody in Florida yet, despite living down here in Naples and spending most of my time down here in Naples. So this is kind of cool. So let's start with Key West. Describe Key West to most everybody that might be listening that's never been to Key West or knows anything about Key West. What is that atmosphere like down there?
Okay, so Key West is basically at the bottom of the map. If you look at America, it's the most southern city in all of America. It's a 5 by 4 mile long island. It's not too big. It's more of a touristy town, but honestly, it was a great place to grow up and play football at too.
I've been down there once. I've only been to Key West once, and we went down. I think we stayed on Isle of Murata, which is a couple islands, a couple keys up from Key West,
Yes,
if
sir.
I remember correctly. And we stopped at Key West High School, one of the most interesting high schools I've ever seen. How many footballs go into the Atlantic Ocean there when you guys kick extra points on that one side of the stadium?
It goes into the mangroves. I wish they went into the ocean. That'd be pretty cool.
I mean, it's right there. Your stadium is right on the water. I was shocked. We walked around the field and the Atlantic Ocean right there. You guys are just from the classrooms, you can see it.
Absolutely, yes, sir. I mean, we're right by the airport too, so the planes literally fly over us as they're landing.
What was it lunchtime like at Key West High? What did you guys do?
It depended. We had the cafeteria food. We'd sit outside, but sometimes it's a little too hot out there. But we'd either go out and just grab some food from like a local spot like Smoothie Shuttle, which is like known for having all the high schoolers there. They have some really good food, or
Okay.
just hang out with your friends and sit in the courtyard if it's not too hot.
I mean, are you sunbathing? Is anybody down there sunbathing, just hanging out
Absolutely.
at the water?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
And do people drive boats to school?
No, sir. I wish that'd be cool though.
No
We got
boats. Okay,
bridges.
that was like the biggest question I had was, does anybody just pull up on a boat and tie up at the dock and walk into school? So and then
We
okay,
got some people living in houseboats. So I mean,
okay,
technically, yeah, yeah.
okay, all right. And then the other thing I thought was interesting is you're almost as far away from Florida State as you possibly could be. You drive by
Absolutely.
every other school in Florida to get to your college.
Yes, sir.
At any point during your trips where you're like, I could have gone here, I could have gone here and been to school already. I could have been here and gone to school already.
That's kind of what happened. I mean, when I was touring, especially when I was still in high school and I wanted to go visit colleges, we went all the way up through. We went all the way to South Carolina actually, and we passed every college. I was like, the drive definitely is a lot more brutal, but it's definitely worth it.
So yeah, so no regrets about maybe hitting a Central Florida or South Florida or
No,
Miami
sir.
or FAU, FIU. Who else did we forget there in
Gainesville.
yeah, Florida? Like you hit it, you drove by all of them and just kept right on going. And then not just a little bit, but Tallahassee's way up there past all those other ones too. Like you had a long ways to go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It usually you can drive through a state in about 7 hours. So I'm basically driving 2 states to get to Tallahassee.
What's the total hours on that to get there?
So usually it's about 11-ish, but when I went, especially when I was getting over there, we had bad traffic. So it was really like a 15-hour day of just driving.
Man, yeah, because if you leave at the wrong time, there's only one. Well, you got what, four lanes,
One
in and
one
out of
lane
Key
road.
West.
1 lane road usually.
Yeah, that's it. Like if it's
Exactly.
a rush hour, you're stuck.
No, yeah, you're not moving anywhere.
Oh my gosh, I like that's just. I mean, you're literally like corner to corner on the state
It's
of Florida,
brutal.
and it's long enough for us to drive to get out. I mean, it's 7+ hours for us to get out of the state and you're another 4 or 5 hours, maybe 5.5 hours south of us. So that's
Exactly.
no joke. Okay. All right. So when you guys played in high school, you're playing a bunch of home games, or are you on the road? What was that like for you as a high school football player?
Honestly, it kinda depended on the season. Some games or some seasons, bunch of home games, and that was I was grateful for that. We didn't have to take a 3, 4-hour drive to go there. But a few seasons, we had to go almost every Friday, just leave at 1 in the afternoon and drive all the way up to Miami, 3, 4 hours, and then right after the game, drive all the way back down, get home at, like, 1, 2.
And so most of your schools are Dade County, Broward County
Yes, sir.
schools that you're playing on the road?
Yeah, Homestead, Broward, all that area over there.
I know you guys every once in a while, you guys would come up to Collier County and play, Gulf Coast or Lely or Barron,
Yes, sir.
maybe one of those
Yes, sir.
schools. That's in our district down here over here. Man, that's gotta be that's rough on the weekends, isn't it?
It can be, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love playing football, so I didn't really mind it, and honestly, the car rides are fun when you're with good people. I prefer the bus rides sometimes with my boys, having a good time, so I can't really complain too much.
Well, you guys are you guys on charter buses at that point, or are you guys on the old, yellow cheese wagon buses?
Yellow cheese wagon buses. Sometimes we take some vans, especially during the COVID time. We just put a bunch of people in separate vans, and that was fun, so we had, like, the whole O line in this one little Sprinter van, and that was always fun.
That I can see where that would be an attraction if you could be
Exactly.
hanging out with your boys for 4 hours going up to the game. You guys had while you were in school there, did you guys have a pretty good team? I mean, Key West has had a couple good teams going into the playoffs a couple years. I don't remember how good or bad you guys were when you were there. Sometimes they've had a couple years where they've been really bad, but a couple years there, I think when you were in school, you guys had pretty good seasons.
My freshman and a sophomore year, we did pretty well, and then we kinda went into, like, a pretty bad losing streak my junior and senior year, and they started bringing it back up, though. I mean, they made it to the playoffs last year, 2 years in a row, honestly, I'm pretty sure, but they've had a pretty good team.
And so you guys have like you're talking like some of your guys have to drive an hour plus to get to school, right? Like if they're
Yes,
on one
sir.
of those northern keys, they're driving a good ways
Hour
just to get to
plus.
school.
Yes, sir, and that's without traffic.
Man, I will say that's dedication. There's no doubt about that. The Key West
Absolutely.
football player is a dedicated dude because, like you said, it's just travel, travel, travel. You're in such a remote location that you gotta be able to suck it up and get it done.
Exactly. We had this guy who lived in Marathon, which is about an hour drive, and he would get up at 5 in the morning every day just to get down there because school started at 7:30.
Jeez,
It was
man, that's tough.
I felt for him for sure.
That's tough. I guess you got every once in a while guys crashing at your house that live far away, maybe on a Thursday night, so they didn't have to
Yep,
get up so early on a Friday morning and get there. Is
exactly.
that
That
problem
that
solved,
would
right?
happen sometimes, yep.
Yeah, okay. Alright, so you get up to Florida State, and why Florida State? What attracted you up there?
Well, I mean, the program itself, it's Florida State, the culture behind it, and when I went there for my official visit, the whole team was just connected, so tight knit, and it felt like a brotherhood. And like we've kind of talked about in the intro, I like filmmaking. I love filmmaking. It's my passion outside of football. And Florida State has one of the top film programs in the whole country.
Mhm.
I think it's top 13 right now. I want to say. So I'm applying to the master's program right now. Actually, today I had my interview with them. That was pretty interesting. But
Well, that's exciting. How does it okay, so let's get into that for a second. What does a master's degree film interview how does that go? How does that progress? Take me through that a little bit.
I practiced in the morning. I got up at like 5:30, went to practice. We had heavy squats today, so we went through that. I got out there, took a shower, got dressed. I had to dress up like kind of more business cash. And I walked over there and they brought me into this room and we just started talking, going over the things. They interviewed me personally and asked me questions. They asked me how would I balance this out because they know that I play football. So they wanted to know like what my schedule would kind of look like around it and like they said they enjoyed some of my personal filmmaking things, like some of my movies that I've made, and then after that, we had a group interview, which I've never done before, but they basically got all the other interview guys into a room and they gave us a prompt, and it's like, "Come up with a movie script in the next 10 minutes that you can, like, give to us." So we did that with them, and then we got a tour around the
Can you
facility,
share
and
with us what the prop was?
the prompt, the prompt was a bank robber who's robbing a bank and has to take a hostage, but the hostage turns out to be suicidal. And we had to make a whole script around that basically, or a whole idea around.
So did you go with drama or did you go with comedy or
Comedy.
comedy? Okay. Anything
I thought we did pretty good, honestly.
you wanna share there? 'Cause I'm that kinda intrigues me. How what did you bring the what'd you bring from the comedy realm into that?
I don't know if we're allowed to talk about
Okay,
publicly,
alright,
but I could definitely
alright.
tell you. I could definitely tell you though.
I don't wanna get anybody in trouble, so we'll let that go.
Okay.
We'll come back and revisit that. We'll have to do another episode to so that we can hear, 1, how the entrance went, did you get in? And 2, how the interview went and what the
Absolutely.
actual because that might end up being on a movie screen someday, and we might have to
You never
say we
know.
heard it here first. That's exciting. You really do have some like we were saying earlier when we were talking that watching your stuff, it's neat to have people that have different interests and different likes, particularly on the football field. You got guys, big dudes like that guy for the guard for Philadelphia that can sing.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Malu, is that his name? I can't remember. I apologize for butchering his name,
You're
but
all
he
good.
big old dude walks out there at 6'6", 6'5", 6'6", like 340 pounds, and just starts ripping a song, and kind of takes your breath away for a second to see the talent. Or you see a big dude sit down and just start playing the guitar or the piano or something, and so your talent is having the ability to see things kind of. I mentioned this to you earlier. See things differently from a different angle. To be a filmmaker, you have to see something. And one of the things I was impressed with was you just took a workout. You were running the stairs, and you turn that into a video.
Yes, sir. That was something that was it was awesome. I had a great time doing that.
What goes through your mind to say, "No, this is a good" was there something that clicked in your brain? How does your brain pick up on that scenario, that angle that you said, "Today I'm gonna go run, get a workout in, and I'm gonna put together a film and put a short video together."
I mean, it's just something like my one of my New Year's goals was to just bring my camera with me more often now because
Okay.
I feel like I would always catch myself saying, "Man, that's so pretty," or I wish I brought my camera. I would always say, "I wish I brought my camera,"
Mhm.
and sometimes I'd sit there and just be like, "Why don't I just bring my camera?" So me and my buddy were just kind of messing around and we're like, "Yeah, I want to go get a workout in. I'll bring my camera." And he's like, "Okay, yeah, I'll record you, see if anything looks good." And he helped me out a little bit. We set up some shots and I told him like, "Hey, let's do this." And he's like, "Yeah, let's do this." And we just added on to it. And then I went on later on and just edited it together and it ended up being pretty cool.
Yeah, I was really impressed. I agree, and so that's an interesting your brain was telling you we got all these little hidden gems throughout the day, these little secret spots here and there that you're like, "Oh, man." So what do you have, like a camera bag? You got a tripod, some lights, that kinda stuff in it?
Usually just yeah, that sums it up, honestly. Camera bag, camera, some lights, and maybe like a microphone if I need it.
And it just pops. You just like, boom, the artistic part of your brain says, "Now, this is something I can work with."
Exactly.
You kinda see it in your brain before it happens.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll kind of imagine what I want to record in certain shots and angles. Usually, I have what happens is I'll come up with one shot I think is going to look amazing, and then I could get extra ones around it, and then I just build it together. The one shot that I thought would be really, really cool was the super wide shot of me running up the stadium. And after that,
From up the on top of the looking down at you as you ran up?
no, 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 from the down looking upwards,
Okay, okay.
basically. So I thought that one was like super wide shot of that, and then after that, okay, let's get some close-ups, let's get some medium shots. Let's just show me stepping on the stadiums. Let's get a overhead shot. I just got a bunch of different kind of shots around it, and it was sunset at this point. We're like, let's get some sunset shots. Let's see what it looks like with the sunset, and just got a bunch of extra stuff, and it ended up working out.
Do you find yourself thinking that way on the football field? Like,
I
kinda
mean,
storyboarding? I call that storyboarding. Do you storyboard the play on your in your head before it happens?
I do imagine it's almost like chess, I guess you could say. I like to compare football more to chess,
Okay.
where it's when you're playing, like there's thousands of things that can happen. But like if you look at like a linebacker, for instance, and he's leaning forward, I'm gonna help block this defensive tackle, and I'm gonna have to pop off on the linebacker. Like that's usually like what goes on in my head before the snap. And like sometimes it doesn't happen, sometimes it does, but like I try to like anticipate and make a prediction that is usually correct. That's my goal.
Yeah, based on the observations and the little cues that you pick up that have become second nature to you after playing football for all these years and all these reps. You start to
Exactly.
see the lean of the linebacker, his 1 foot slightly in front of the other. The defensive lineman's hand is turned ever so slightly in the direction he wants to go, or the nail beds on his fingers are white because there's a lot of pressure on the nail beds. You can see the whiteness. That means he's leaning hard on that hand, so he's going that direction. You know, all those little things. You probably just pick it up and boom, 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 absorb it, and then you just can dissect and know what's happening
Exactly.
automatically.
Exactly. Eventually, one thing for me with college is I used to always think of how fast paced it was compared to high school. And the more I got into it, the more the game slowed down for me. And I was able to actually read things. And especially, I think one thing that's huge for me was just understanding plays. Once you know the play, like the back of your head, you don't have to think about what you're going to do. It's just thinking about how you're going to do it, different types of combinations you can make with double teams and things like that, or just understanding the IDs of the defense. And it makes things a lot easier to where I could play more confidently with all of my power instead of, okay, who do I block here? Second guessing myself, communicating. It makes things a lot easier for sure. And the game slowed down a lot.
I always like to think during a game, if you told me where everybody started from, what technique the tackles were in, what technique the ends were in, what techniques the linebackers were in, and I knew what the play was happening. Obviously, being offensive coordinator, offensive line guy, I knew what play we had called in the huddle. I would ask the guy in the box, "Where's so and so? Where's so and so? Where's so and so?" And then I could diagnose who made the tackle. And then the next question was who made the tackle. And I could tell you pretty much by knowing who made the tackle, what play we had called, and where everybody started. I could tell you what went wrong on that play without having to watch everybody. If 10 made the play, that means he had to defeat the tackle. If the tackle didn't get out on the block, where was our tackle? Well, he never made it. Well, he got eaten up on the double team, you know, or the chip. He didn't get the chip off, whatever. But it was fun to be able to see, like, take snapshots before the play in my brain and then a snapshot at the end of the play, and I could just connect the dots. You got to the point where as a
Exactly.
coach, if you have all those times spent watching film and hours and hours and hours watching film, you get to connect those dots a lot faster.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Which brings me to the next question. How much film studying are you doing during a week once you got there? How much of that learning what to do, learning the schemes of what you're supposed to do and accomplish, how much of that was accomplished through film study for you?
A lot. I wouldn't say all of it, but a lot of it, to be honest with you. One thing about me is I used to hate watching college football. I hated watching NFL football. In my head, it was, why would I watch something when I can just go out and play it? So I never really enjoyed watching that. And then when I got into college, all I would do was watch it. I would study it night and day whenever I could, honestly, either just learning plays or understanding formations. And I still do. And especially last year, we had some really good vet guys on our offensive line. We had 6 to 7 year seniors, and all of them would always be in the film room for 7 basically. And that's when I realized if I want to be just as good at them, if not better, I have to do what they're doing. I have to be in that film room. And it made me really respect them because it's, you don't just go out to practice, you have a good practice and you leave. You go out to practice, you watch who you're gonna play that week, go over their tendencies, watch a few of their games, understand everything about them, and then you can maybe leave, or you go talk to your coach about it and you learn from what your coaches are thinking and going over what the play calls for that week are going to be. And I feel that's like how you play as a winner and not just as a player.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Now, be honest with me, Andre, do you ever watch the video and be like, his camera aperture settings aren't right? You ever get into criticize, you get into critiquing the film
I
quality?
do notice that some of the film quality that we do have is pretty crappy. I won't lie. So sometimes I get a little frustrated. It would be a little blurry or something. I'm like, this cameraman sucks, but I can't complain at the same time.
That's funny. You can't focus on what's happening on the film because you're focusing on the film itself and not being able to. Oh my gosh, that's we've had some bad film exchanges over my years, coaching high school football. You always get one, and not always, but there's always every once in a while there's a film that's, I swear it looks like a camera, a cell phone video from a mom in the upper row of the
Yep.
bleachers.
Yep.
It's all wobbly, you know, Blair Witch style looking kind of film, and you know, I try not to watch those if we got those in trade. I'd put those at the end of the line to watch so I didn't have a headache or get motion sick watching
Exactly.
those things. So you're doing all this studying, you're learning your schemes, and now you got to go out on the field and you got to physically perfect your trade. What are you focusing on? What's the one thing that you're trying to get done each day when you go out on that football field that you really feel like you need to improve on, and you're going to focus? You guys haven't started spring ball yet, have you?
No, sir. We still got I think a month and a half ish till spring ball
Okay.
starts.
So as you're right now, you're just building up, you're healing, building up strength, building up speed, doing all the raw builds on the things that you're going to use. When you get out on the field, what are those? What's that one thing that you're going to work on?
I like the idea of having really tight hands, being dominant with my hands, especially on pass protection.
Mhm.
I don't like having wide hands. I feel like that's how you lose a lot of your battles. Being in front of the defender is obviously important in pass pro. For me in run play, I want to have really good control, 2 feet in the ground. So first step, second step. I think being able to be explosive off those 2 steps is how you win football games. To be honest with you, just 1-2 contact. I think that's one of my things, and then just understanding the leverage and understanding where the ball is going to be run, so I can understand where I need to block the right defensive.
That's important.
Absolutely.
The in playing guard, you're kinda in that phone booth there. You don't have a whole lot of margin for error, both left and right and front, back. Those guards have to kinda set the depth of the pocket. And so, do you find that being something you think about when you're getting there, controlling the hands, keeping the hands in tight and controlling the steering wheel, the breastplate of that defender? Are you conscious of that? Is that something that's in your brain, or are you just focusing on beating that guy and it doesn't matter about depth, width?
I definitely focus a lot on the depth more than the width. I mean, I feel it also depends. A lot of offensive line work depends. I mean, who are you going against? Are you going against a more bull rusher? Are you going against a twitchy kind of evasive guy? Or are you just kind of going against a nobody? I feel like all depends on who you're going against. And for me, I feel like it's definitely one of the most important. But if you get beat right off the ball, if you have someone that's quick and twitchy and loves to swim or rip or spin move or any of that, like, get to be more aware of that. You can't quick set out to him because what if he spins inside really quick? You have to be more careful in your set.
And that's all, and you're knowing that based on your film study, spending that
Absolutely.
time on the screen, checking that guy out, watching him in all those
Yes, sir.
various situations and scenarios, right?
Exactly. You have to understand your guy. That's one of the main things that we do have is we have a list of all the people on the roster from scout team uh to like round one draft picks. Like, it's you have to go through them all just to be careful. Like, you never know who's going to be in the game to understand them. I mean, heck, sometimes I even stalk their Instagrams and see their personal lives. I got to see what everything's about. I know their first name, last name, all of that. You just got to
Yeah.
understand who you're going against.
Are you a trash talker, Andre?
I try not to be. I try
Okay.
not to be. Right now, personally, I feel like when I was younger, I was filled with a lot more anger, and that's when I would let a lot more things go. But in my head, I feel like I want to be a calm, more in just let my work show. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
I don't need to talk. I can just block you, and then it'll stop you from talking trash back to
Big I agree with you. I wasn't a big trash talker every once in a while, but nowadays I would think that, like you said, you mentioned looking at the Instagram or getting on TikTok and checking them out, or just Googling people that you play against, right? When I was in school, the only option we had to know about who we were playing with was if you played against the guy in high school. And going to William and Mary up in Virginia, a lot of those guys were Virginia guys, and so if we played against James Madison or Richmond or UVA, they might have had some high school experience, came from the same area, knew each other from growing up, youth leagues or whatever. If you didn't have that experience, then the only other option we had was the game day program. They'd always give us a game day program in our lockers, and so you could always go back and read like the little excerpt. And I had a couple buddies that they would just scour that game day program in the morning before the game so that they would have something. And one of my buddies, he didn't play a whole lot, but he would always he would figure out who the end man on the kickoff team on either side was. And he would read up on those two guys so that during whichever they were kicking, if they scored on us, he would stand by the kickoff team and he would just chirp that guy closest to us on the sidelines the whole game. And then when we
yeah.
switched sides, he would chirp the other guy. And he would have been a phenomenal trash guy
Yeah.
had he had the access to the internet and the social media
Yeah.
that you guys have
That would have been
nowadays.
brutal if you gave him that.
Oh, he would come up with moms and dad he had mom and dad names, brother, sister names,
Yep. Yep.
anything that was in the program, he was just absorbed it all, and he would study it. I remember watching him in his locker, just studying that pregame, looking at the program so that he could have some ammunition to fire at that guy. Come on, man, that's just wrong. You gotta let that guy
Exactly.
go. So, not a lot of trash talking. You're gonna let your game be
Yes, sir.
as you guys get out there on the field, you got that pass pro, you're not really worried about you wanna know what you gotta deal with. If I'm dealing with power, you gotta worry about the depth a little bit more. If you're worrying about the finesse guy, you don't wanna get beat too quick off the ball. You said the
And with
run
that,
game aspect. Go ahead. Sorry.
I feel like with that, you also have to understand the launch point of the quarterback. I mean,
Okay.
is it a quick throw? Is it just a catch and throw? Is it going to be a 7 yard, or is it going to be a screen? Just all of that is all important just for that aspect of like how I'm going to block this. Because if it is a quick throw, I'm going to jump set the guy, or I'm going to set more square on him. You know what I mean?
Is there one type of protection you dislike more than all the other ones?
I like switching my game up a lot. I feel like if you put me on tackle, I feel like I hate if I'm playing tackle, I probably hate sitting against a wide nine the most. That's
Okay.
probably the worst feeling in the world is being in your own little island, and that's why tackles get paid so much is because they get to block people like those. Like
Yeah. Yeah,
you're
to get
there's
it,
a
you got to
defense
get it. You got to get way out there, right?
exactly. There's a Miles Garrett at wide nine who runs a 4-2, and you got a vertical set to block. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you only have one point of contact. You got to get to that one point. If you don't get there in time, he's going to turn the corner on you, or you're going to be off balance, or nail base, and then you look silly because you're just going to get steamrolled over. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
I'm with you on that one. That's not a fun situation to be in. When you when you are playing guard now, are you backing up at one of the other positions, or are you just solely guard?
I play everything. Honestly, I like to say that I play everything. I like going and being able to be available anywhere. So if I'm needed somewhere, if we have some type of injury, knock on wood, of course. If you need me to play right tackle, left tackle, I'm in. If you need me to play center, I'm in.
Are you repping in practice at all those positions?
I try usually during practice. I'll get a little mix up depending on like the roster and what things are looking like. I mean, during the past few seasons, I've had reps at everything besides left tackle in the game.
Okay.
So it just really depends, honestly.
So I mean, you're versatile enough at this point. You have enough reps underneath your belt that if you don't take reps at left guard, not a big deal. Or if the center goes down, you can jump in at center and snap, and you're not going to necessarily, you'll know what you're doing and not necessarily have to have those reps during the game or during the week
Yes,
in
sir.
order to get in there and feel confident about what you're
I
doing.
have I have to be ready. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. We talked earlier when you talked about snapping and getting that hand. We were talking about Jason Kelsey snapping fast and getting that hand back. Did you work on that at all? Is that something that you drilled yourself in when you were playing at center as far as getting those hands up quick?
One thing for me is I really focus on either just having really good footwork, especially at center, or one thing with me is I like to see myself as a strong dude, and I feel like sometimes I'll snap it back too fast and it'll just drill the quarterback. So I kind of work on like an easy medium where like yes, I get my hand back quick, but the snap's not going to be a missile towards the quarterback.
Yeah. That's as dangerous as a bad snap. A good hard snap is almost as dangerous as a bad snap.
Exactly.
What do you okay, you mentioned strength. Give me some strength numbers here. What are you tossing up on your heavy squat day? You said you guys had a heavy squat day this morning before you went to your film interview. What were you throwing up in the squat rack there?
I want to say I had 5 plates for three. That's what I was throwing up today.
Okay, so you're talking close to 490, 495-ish neighborhood?
Around there. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that was you're doing one rep on those or a couple reps?
3 reps, 3 reps.
Ooh, dude, that's brutal. That's a lot of that's a lot of weight. Now, hey, we were talking like going back to Jason Kelsey. I did watch something of him. It might have been it might have been a podcast of his or saw him on YouTube or something, and he'd gone back to the Eagles practice facility. This would
Mhm.
be something we were talking about his unique takes on things earlier before we started the interview, but he had gone back to the Eagles practice facility and hadn't worked out. I think he said it was about a year since he'd gone through an NFL workout. And he
Okay.
had the strength coach that used to work him out, put him through one of his NFL style workouts. And I mean, he's been out for a year, man. He's been retired for a year, right? He got in there and I think he ended up repping 515 in the
On
squat
a
rack.
squat? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I was super impressed. Not that he needs to impress me, not that I'm anything on the scale of that he's worried about, but dang, dude, that's impressive. Doing 515 anytime is impressive, but a year out from being retired and not having
Exactly.
he's not in a squat rack squatting heavy working out. That's not something he's doing anymore, but he jumped in there and put it up, and I was like, I'll look and see if I can find it and get it to you. But
Yeah, that'd
that
be
was
awesome.
super impressive to watch him do that. And he was out running. They had him running, doing agilities and shuttles and all that kind of stuff. And
Okay,
he
yeah.
was, I bet you had some problems walking the next day, if I had to guess.
Yeah,
What are
yeah.
you gonna throw up on the bench press there? You guys doing
That's a
you
good
getting into a 1,400 pound total with your bench and squat and cleans and all that kind of stuff?
I would hope so, honestly. I haven't maxed out in bench in probably about 2 years now. It's been a while. Last time I did it was my red shirt freshman year for 405.
How do you guys measure your upper body strength in the weight room there?
I think bench press is one of the main ones for sure. I just never went back for a max after that 405.
Oh, I got you. Okay. I heard I was watching an interview with you. I don't remember who it was doing some show research, and you mentioned tour of duty. Is that the like your all's off season weight room routines? Is
It's
that what those are?
it's more of like our off-season conditioning routine, and it's usually about 2 times a week, and we show up there. This year's a little different. We're kinda, like, weighed out 'cause the transfer portal and all that has been completely different nowadays. But, usually it's 2 days a week, Tuesday and Thursday at, like, 6 AM, and it's just mat drills and a bunch of other conditioning, not many breaks, and it's just torture, honestly. And
So you're doing like agilities? Like tell me some of the exercises you're doing in there.
I don't even have a name for them, to be honest with you. They tell us to move and we move, and
I had one of my
it
former
works. It
yeah.
works. I mean, I've seen so many people. I haven't seen so many people struggle. I was one of the people included. Like, I would sit there and question myself, was it even worth it at this point? Because keep in mind, we're not playing football right now. We don't have I haven't put on a helmet in almost 2 months now, and
It's just
during
torture.
exactly, during tour of duty, you almost forget why you're there. You're just doing a bunch of strenuous heavy squats and heavy strength, and you got a bunch of conditioning, but you don't get to hit people, you don't get to block people. So you almost forget why you're there for sometimes. It's basically a rite of passage basically to get
Yeah.
through FSU football.
Puts hair on your chest.
Exactly, and it's been a tradition for a long, long time. It's been happening since before us. I mean, I think it started in the 1970s, I wanna say, 90s, 1970s, somewhere in that time,
Well,
and
if it's
it's
that
probably
old,
gonna be
it's
here.
if
Exactly,
it's that old, it's medieval for sure.
exactly.
No doubt about that. One of my former players played at Florida, with
Mhm,
Urban Meyer, and they used to do something where they would have one guy lay on the mat and the other guy would get on top of him, and you had to get
okay.
out of the it was like a wrestling ring, or
I saw
wrestling.
that on, like, a video of that. I wanna say it was on their documentary where I, like,
Yes.
saw a clip of that, yeah.
Yeah, and he said it was brutal. They guys are just punching, fighting, kicking, whatever they could do just to get out so that they didn't lose. They didn't wanna lose. Whatever they wanted to get out of the circle first, and, he said it was just brutal, and I kinda there's something to be said for that. There's a developing toughness aspect that we all need to go through, right? You gotta
Absolutely.
push yourself, and that's the coach's job, man. His job is to take you where you can't go on your own, right? That's what the coaches get paid big bucks for. But I heard you mention that, and I wonder what are you guys doing physical competitions against each other and kinda in the vein that the Gators are doing there or not?
I mean, yeah, we do have some types of physical competition. We have obviously not we're not allowed to go and wrestle on top of each other anymore. I think that's illegal, I'm pretty sure, but we do things like relay races, tug of war, just one-on-one tug of wars, just things to, like, show physical strengths, and obviously the loser has some type of punishment.
Yeah. Just getting that lactic acid built up so that it makes you wanna they got the garbage cans everywhere in case people have
We have the
their lunch and breakfast from yesterday come back up.
Yep, we have the ambulance outside ready, we got the stretchers out, we got the trash cans, we got everything. It was bad, it was bad for sure. My freshman year, I didn't know what I was going through, I was just a confused little kid at that point, and I'm dying personally, I'm thinking it's only me. Like, I kinda catch my breath and I look up, and I kinda look around our field, and there's just heads and trash cans all around, I'm like, "Okay, I'm not
Everybody's
the only."
struggling.
Yeah, I'm not the only one right now.
It's a big, big, long struggle bus that everybody is taking
Exactly,
to the field.
exactly.
I remember my freshman year when the winter workout started, and, like you said, you're just like this young little wet behind the ears pup that you got no idea what to expect, no idea what to do. My alarm didn't go off the first morning that we had winter workouts. I think we were like Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday. You could pick you could do 2 one of the 2
Yeah.
combinations. And so I woke up and I remember going, "Oh my gosh." I sprinted across campus all the way to the stadium, and they had just started on the track. And so I jumped in line and just stood right in line. It was like the first time anybody was doing anything. And so I went through the whole sprint workout, not a problem. We all get done. Strength coach says, "You were late." And I was like, "Gosh dang it." I was like, "But I did everything." He goes, "No, man, you were late." So I ran that day, and then my punishment was you had to do 2 days to make up for the day that you missed or the day that you were late. So I ended up doing the sprint workout Monday. I did the same workout Tuesday. I had to do the second workout on Wednesday, and I did the second workout again on Thursday. And Andre, I'm not kidding you. I had to walk backwards around campus because my calves were so locked up for about 4 days that I couldn't walk downhill. My calves wouldn't flex enough to let me walk downhill. So I'd go downhill backwards. I was
That's
struggling.
evil.
Oh, I was miserable, miserable time. So I should have known better and just not gone to that first workout day, and everything would have been a little bit better.
Yes,
But
sir.
all right, so you're getting through those off-season workouts. You guys are getting ready to go into spring football. What's your? We had this debate last week, I think, with uh, with Drew Page from Indiana State. Spring ball or fall camp? What do you dread more?
Fall camp, I think. I mean, one thing with fall camp is like, yes, we get to play games soon, which is really exciting, but fall camp is a lot more every single day in your face compared to spring ball. With spring ball, like you still have classes and you get time off with those because you have classes. Fall camp, school hasn't started yet. So it's basically like a 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. every single day. Like I wake up, I go play football, I go to bed and wake up again and go play football. There's no breaks in between it. So fall camp's definitely the more brutal of them, I think. Yeah, for sure. Definitely fall camp.
Which is funny because I said spring ball because our fall camp, I don't know how I didn't say fall camp, but we got into talking about two-a-days, which you guys probably don't. Have you ever gone through a two-a-day?
Like 2 practices a day? I
Yeah,
mean, we don't have 2 real padded practices a day. We'll have a padded practice, a workout, and then, like, another walkthrough, which is, like, another hour-long kinda thing where we're still moving around, getting our bodies right, like, jogging or sprinting, but we're not hitting each other.
no, bro. I'm talking about
I
straight up in
I know
pads, run blocking in the morning, pass blocking in the afternoon
I
because
know what you're
that's what you.
talking about. We
Oh
had that
my,
in high school. We had 2-a-days right before school started every it's our fall ball basically. We'd always have 2-a-days, 6 a.m. practice, and then we'd go back at like 5 p.m. and do
yeah.
another one. And
So you did have some of those down at Key West.
yeah, those were some days for
Okay.
sure.
All right, because Andrew, when I was talking to Andrew or Drew, last week, he never had two-a-days. They didn't have two-a-days. He grew up in Indiana and went to high school in Indiana. They didn't have two-a-days, and now with the NCAA, you guys don't really have 2 days per se. You might have those, in shorts running through run-throughs or walkthroughs, whatever you wanna call it. But the sheer intense agony that you feel in the afternoon practice from after getting banged around a little bit. But for us,
Exactly.
I said spring ball. I hated spring ball. I just hated every minute of spring football, being out there with knowing that everybody else is having fun in the spring, and you're out there on the field, and it's cold and it's hot, and then it's hot and it's cold, and then you're
It's
banged
only
up
15
and
practices though.
oh, man, it was no, well, see, that's what I'm saying. I think my NCAA time was different than
Yeah, for
I
sure,
was
for
part of the
sure.
old NCAA, and we had I don't know if we just had 15 practices. I swear it felt like we went a good 7 weeks of 4 practices a day. I feel like we had 20, 25 practices, and it just went on and on and on and on and on, and you had your weekends were eaten up, and then your weeks were eaten up, and
Yep.
it was rough.
That's how it
Alright.
goes for sure.
Enough of my problems, enough of my problems. Nobody wants to hear those. So tell me, Andre, what is the one aspect you get out on the field, you're in the huddle, they call this play and you get excited. What's that one thing that you're looking forward to?
It's gotta depend.
Like a scheme, a play, something unique on a play that you get to do? Is there any like a guard or is there one play you like to pull on the
I
trap
was about
or
to say
you
you can't go wrong with pulling, man. I mean,
yeah,
you can get pretty excited on just blowing up a defenseless defensive end if he's not looking. I like the idea of chipping or galloping. Sometimes I love
okay.
hitting the hip. So I mean, anytime I get the chance to gallop either on the center or the tackle, I feel like that's really awesome because you just get to hit someone's hip and make them fly. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So trapping, galloping, I like those for sure.
Okay. Uh, tell me about trapping. When you talk to me about what you're thinking about as you trap. The ball snapped and you're take me through your brain as that ball snapped. How's it working for you?
I usually think don't miss. That's my main thing thought
Don't miss,
process
don't
is
miss, don't miss, don't miss.
don't miss.
As you're
I
running
mean,
down the line.
I'm running, I'm looking at my target, I'm making sure I'm hitting the right person too, because it depends. Like sometimes they run up the field because they're jetting on the quarterback, and you have to get there and block that instead, or it's all around it. Sometimes you have to log it and wrap around it instead of because he's ripping inside, so you have to go and kind of block it tight. Or sometimes he's just right there and it's like a deer in headlights. And you bam. It just depends, honestly. But the main thing is just don't miss. Don't be control of my body is the main thing. It's just don't be a raging bull in the china shop. Be kind of like a. I like to see myself as like a bullet, a aerodynamic, like controlled bullet.
Looking for a target.
Exactly.
Looking for a target. I like that. Worst thing about offensive line. One thing you're like, oh man, don't make me do that. I don't like this drill. I hate doing this.
The worst thing about offensive line, I think, besides drill wise, I think drill wise is fine. I think the main thing is if we're in our stance and we put our hand in the dirt and we're not allowed to pick it up, and our quarterback's taking a long time to either change the play or change the read. And I'm sitting in my stance. We're on like a 15 play drive. I'm like, snap the ball,
Yeah,
like call the cadence, do
let's
something,
go.
because that is the worst feeling because you're just sitting there like your thighs are burning, your quads are burning, everything's burning, and the quarterback's either checking the play or something, and you're just ready to go. Like
He's
I need to
indecisive,
move my legs.
not
Yeah,
quite sure what to check to, and you're like, dude, come on, man, make a decision.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
All right, next question. Worst defensive guy to go against. Who was the biggest animal you had to go against?
That's a good one. Daryl Jackson, he's going into the league this year, coming up here. He is a monster. Like he's about 6'5", 6'6", 330 pounds, but it's not like 330 pounds with some fat. He's like a genetic freak, like pure muscle, 330 pounds. He has some of the most longest arms I've ever seen. So blocking him is really hard because you have to get your hands on him before he gets it on you. Because if he extends, you're not going to be able to reach him. And he's a a ball of muscle, and he's really explosive, really powerful. That's definitely one of the hardest people I've definitely ever gone against.
I had a chance to play against Chris Slade, one
Okay.
year when I was in school at UVA. Same thing, man. Chris Slade had just long arms that went on for days, man. He'd get those
Yep.
arms on you. I felt like a little brother trying to get to the big brother, and I just couldn't. He's putting his hand on my forehead, and I'm like, "Come on, come on, come on!" You can't.
Exactly.
Felt like that little Spike dog from the cartoons. That's a when you find a guy that's got long arms and he's strong, that's a deadly combination. We coach against Leonard Williams. He was out of Daytona, Mainland, and had a chance to coach against him, and he had those long arms too. I felt bad for my offensive lineman. I was like, man, just try to get to his legs. Maybe his arms aren't long enough to reach to his legs. But I swear, you see those some of those guys that they got those long arms, you feel like they could tie their shoes without bending over, and it's just
Exactly.
not fair. It's not fair. They got all that leverage that they can use. So what was your secret? Did you have a way that you had a chance to compete against that guy? You say get your hands on him early, but that that's hard to do.
It's hard to do, but one of the only things that you can do is just get your hands on them all early. I mean,
And
a lot of
what
teams that we went against would double team, sometimes triple team him, and that just shows to his strength is that they would have to waste 2 to 3 players to block this dude. I mean, and sometimes that's kinda what you have to do, and that's why I think he's gonna be a first round pick too, though.
yeah. Now you saw him. Did you guys go good on good
Yeah,
at all?
we would go good on good sometimes, yeah.
So
Without the scout team, yeah.
you're hoping he ends up on the other side of the line from you when you come up to the line. He's somebody else's problem.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
How much communicating are you doing up on the line?
A lot of it, I mean, every play needs communication. That's one thing that we pride ourselves on is communication.
Do
Because
you guys
the
practice communicating?
absolutely. I mean, every play we call either at practice or sometimes we'll just go to the film room and go watch film and communicate there. You
Nice.
need it though, because just assumption of everyone knowing what they're gonna do is not it's not gonna work. So you have to talk. And it always starts from the center, either making the IDs or whatever, and then guards relaying it, center or tackles relaying it too. If they see a outside corner cat, hey,
Mhm.
out, call out to that, or just things like that. You need communication.
What and you guys are high tempo, right? You guys are
Yes, sir.
running as
Very.
many plays as you can, as fast as you can, right?
Yes, sir. Very much so.
How do you as an offensive lineman, how do you guys simulate that in practice? How do you get
We
that ability to do tempo with a scout team? Because that's always a challenge, I think, for particularly for the offensive line, because you gotta wait for the knucklehead defensive guys who can't read to get lined up right.
Well, one thing for us is we'll usually have a good on good period at the beginning of practice that is a pace tempo type period
Mhm.
where we get on the line and we just run all of our pace plays or we run just really fast tempoed offense. And it's good for us and it's really good for our defense too, because if they can get ready and get set for someone that's kind of similar to us,
Mhm.
then they can beat them easy because they already go against us. You know what I mean? And with our
What
scout
others
team, it's like sorry.
well, I was gonna say, what other schools run that kinda tempo with you guys doing that?
I mean, I don't coach defense. I block people, so that's a
Mhm.
good question. I don't watch a lot of other teams' offenses. I want to say that Coach Malzahn is a very world-renowned kind of coach, honestly, and there's a lot of probably brother and sister schools based off of his offense around there from either people that coached under him and moved on to their own. So you could probably find some of our similar versions of our offense in college for sure.
It's crazy. I apologize for asking. That's kind of a dumb question thinking back because I would get home and think back and I was like, I don't know if I saw 5 plays of the defense tonight because I'm looking at the iPad, I'm coaching my guys up, I'm drawing stuff up on the board, and then they say punt team's up, and you turn
Exactly.
around and you miss that whole you're trying to figure out, you're scheming, you're marking stuff off your play sheet or whatever, and then you look up and you're like, we're on the field, and I didn't s did how did we play well as defense there? How did we get the ball back? What'd they do?
Yep.
I
You gotta trust the coordinator.
yeah. Yeah, totally. So, I kinda cut you off there. You were saying you guys do that, you're trying to get your defense prepped also so that
Mhm.
they can go out and have that same tempo if they run into somebody that's running that tempo. Is that something that they're calling their stuff out? Are you guys going Florida State defense versus Florida State offense, or are they lining up and giving you a scout look based on what defense you think you're gonna see that week?
We get a little bit of everything. We get Florida
Okay,
State versus Florida State. We'll get scout team versus our offense. We'll do some of our or their offense against their defense. It just
okay.
depends, honestly.
And it was
Sometimes we'll
that
have the good on good, and we'll have them replicate the defense. It just depends.
5, 7 minutes type thing?
Usually, each period's about yeah 5. I want to say 5-ish minutes. So
Okay.
somewhere around there, and we'll have a few periods of practice dedicated to good on good, and then we have a few periods dedicated to scout team and a few periods dedicated to just in between.
And what do you think the amount of plays you get in that 5-minute period? Are you getting 20 plays in?
Usually we get I think 2 to 3 drives, so averaging from 10 to 20.
Okay. So, I mean, you are running a play every 16 to 20 seconds. Like that's what the goal is, right? To snap the ball at 16 seconds on the play clock. So you're getting off maybe 24 seconds to get set up, get moved, and the ball's moving. And you guys got people practice moving the ball from hash or middle of the field and all
Yep.
that stuff. So it's
Yep.
set like do you guys have referees at practice or just the
Yes. Yeah,
GA or
we have a little bit of both. It depends on the day, but usually during like normal practice times, we have referees. And then
okay.
if we don't have that, we'll have like our equipment managers with referee jerseys on that set the
Okay.
ball and do all that.
So that's all set up for you. So you are literally game type of mentality,
Basically. Yeah.
game setup. Is that easier as you go through the season?
Yeah, for sure. I think one thing it does
I
is
mean, like conditioning wise, is it easier as you go through the season?
it slows down a little bit too. Like conditioning wise, we won't kill ourselves on the practice every single day. Like especially if it's like 6, maybe we'll tone it down and do a little less good on good just so we can get our bodies right for the game next week. I think the one thing though that it prepares us for is that when we go on the game field, it feels like we're at practice. We're going against people that usually are not as good as our defense and we get to execute on them. And I think that's one thing that's great about it.
I enjoyed talking about those hurry up situations because it's as an offensive line coach and as offensive coordinator coming up with the ability, particularly in high school, because you're going to have if you go big on big, that's nice, but you only have so many reps during a week, and so if you want to get some sort of fast tempo period going, you almost have to do it during your scout period, and then you got like the freshman and sophomore guys lining up. They're doing the scout team that don't
Exactly.
they don't have the
Exactly.
experience. They can't look at the picture and know what you're the defensive tackle on the right side, and there's a shade on the 3 on the guard. So line up where the shade is, and they don't know where the guard is or whatever. So it's hard to get that fast look going that
It,
really presses the pedal down and keeps it going. It's a challenge. So
it happens.
I was curious. Yeah. All right. So we're kind of getting into the towards the end here, and I have 2 specific questions I want to ask you that I've been asking all of my guests.
Okay, yeah.
One is funniness, the funny factor of the offensive line room. And you might have some really good stories because you've spent so much time traveling in your high school career, just going to games, you have ample opportunity to be with the guys in the car, talking, chatting, scheming, whatever it is. Are there are there any funny stories that stick out? Because I always contend that the offensive line is one of the funniest places you'll ever be. And 10 minutes before the meeting starts off in the meeting room, it's brutal. It's
It's
hysterically
awesome,
funny
yeah,
and people are
yeah.
getting roasted. Is there anything that you could share that kind of sticks out in your mind as one of the funniest things that you remember from your football time?
I think one of my biggest things was we used to when Jacksonville used to have a college, Jacksonville when they had a football team at their college, we used to go there for a camp every year at Kiwa's High, and it was during the summer, and I went there with a bunch of the football guys. The whole football team goes basically, and one thing that we had was we had the position groups with position groups in the rooms, and someone took the idea of having a baby powder fight in one of the rooms, and the room just got totally destroyed. It looked like it was like a smoke machine was hotboxed in there,
Hmm.
and it was just corrupted with baby powder, and I think that was one of the most funniest moments that I've ever had, and it was obviously a pain in the ass to clean up and try
Yeah.
not to have the coach find out and get pissed off about it, but it made me really appreciate those times where it's like when you do have to go and travel with your boys and kind of do things that you don't really like doing, where it's you're in the middle of the summer in the heat of Jacksonville, you find those really good moments with your boys, and that's one thing that taught me about it, but it was definitely one of the most funny things that's ever happened to me.
And clean up baby powder. One of my children did that to the nursery one time, and it's so fine that it gets into
Yep,
everything,
every
and good luck getting it out. Even if you have, like, a mop and a bucket and you're mopping everything, it's still not coming out of
yeah,
everything.
it was brutal, it was brutal.
That's funny. We used to take our guys up to a camp. We'd go up to Weber International up there in the middle of the state.
Mhm.
I remember one of our guys, we would go up there and they would do did you ever go to the down and dirty camps where it was just the linemen, offensive linemen and defensive
I've
linemen?
been to, like, one camp. I didn't really do camps in high school.
Okay.
I've been to, like, one camp in middle school, maybe 2. It was, like, Trench Academy or something like that in Miami, but I know what you're talking about, though, where it's, like, just one-on-ones and things of that such.
Yeah. Well, this down and dirty camp was we would take our linemen. There was no skill guys there. There's no quarterbacks, no running backs, no wide receivers, and they just do pass rush and they do run block and run defense and
Yep.
pass off, pass pro and all that kind of stuff. And so one of our guys, it's like six. I think they have 9 practices in 3 days or 2.5 days or something like that. It's just it's brutal on the guys. It really is. But, he had cramped up, and so he had cramped up and couldn't walk any farther and was on the sidewalk, and so we were we he was all cramped up and he was overheated, so we couldn't get we couldn't take him any farther, and so we went over and we unrolled the hose, the garden hose from the side of the building, and we were just, like, raining water down on top of him. He looked like a beached whale. He had his jersey off,
Yeah.
his pads off, and he's just laying there in the heat, and we're just spraying him, "Hurry up, keep him wet, he's gonna dry out, roll him back in the water." So, those offensive line guys are not nice to one another. And then my last question here as we wind down here, and I again, Andre, I'm so thankful for you taking time out of your schedule and sit down talking with me. You're getting ready to go out on the field, you're getting ready to head out on the down the tunnel there at Doak Campbell, and I just let the record show that the Doak Campbell is a very special place for me. That's where we won the 2001 state championship and had a chance to play out there and coach out there on almost got arrested after the game by a state trooper that, wouldn't let me stand on the carpet, the rolled up, field prep stuff so I could give my wife a kiss after the game. He was threatening to arrest me, but, I appreciate him doing his job. So, as you're getting ready to run out that stadium, and you guys have a wonderful locker room over there, you got those big doors you can open up and push
Yep.
through as you come out on the field. You're taking your earbuds out. What are you listening to? What's going on? What's your lock-in song and your pregame ritual there?
That's a good question, to be honest with you. I like a lot of Kid Cudi. I do a little MF Doom sometimes. It just depends. Sometimes I'll listen to, like, TikTok edits. It just whatever
Okay.
gets me feeling good. It depends. It's really spontaneous, to be honest with you.
Okay. So are you walking around the field? You're a walk around the field guy? We're talking to Drew Page last week. He said he would always walk around the field barefoot. He always wanted to feel the grass on his feet.
I walk around the field. I usually don't do it barefoot, but I like to walk around the field, get a little stretch in, get a little sweat in, and then head out, start getting my pads on, and then get ready.
Do you go around the field a certain way? Is there a certain
I
direction you go
always
or yeah?
I try to always go counterclockwise.
Okay.
So that's what I usually try to do.
It's weird, like just little things, man. Like you and why did you do that? Probably you did it the first time you ever played a game and just always kept doing it.
It's what it's just how I started doing it at Doak, and then when I got to other stadiums traveling, it was just how I started doing it there too, yeah.
Kind of just get that routine, that pregame routine. It just kind of helps you focus and let you get that
Exactly.
body clock going and get it going in the right direction so that you know it's time. And no matter what time you're playing, whether it be a 1, 3:30, 7:30 start, you got that routine that your body knows, okay, man, I'm getting closer to this game time. It's ready to get going. And
Yes,
I
sir.
started asking, we talked about somebody, I started asking this of everybody. It was curious to me what we've had all sorts of answers from music that people are listening to. And it's one of those things it's interesting, kind of like gets a peek in your mind as to, are you somebody that likes to be calm? Are you somebody that wants to be amped up? Are you let the bodies hit the floor type of thing? Like
Yeah.
the devil's music? Are you listening to that hard guitar, like grind sound or whatever? But
Yeah, yeah.
I'm curious as to how people what their mindset is before they go in. And it's funny as a coach, like as a player, I wasn't really much of a music listening guy beforehand. And as a coach, if I'm listening to music, it might be on the bus, but I'm listening to stuff that's just calm and relaxing. It's all about focus and being able to recall stuff. So interesting stuff. Well, Andre, I appreciate you chiming in. And again, I want to touch base with you. I want to know how the film interview went and the plot line there goes.
Yeah.
So I've really enjoyed this. I appreciate your insights, man. I love how your mind, you look at things from a different perspective. I think that's so cool to get other people's visions. Again, big fan of Florida State. I wish you guys the best. I can't wait to see you guys get back out there on the field and compete with Miami for that ACC championship and knock them off the pedestal a little bit. That'll be a fun season to watch happen. All that stuff going down next year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, as we sign off here, remember, if you master the trenches, you'll win the war. Have a great night. Hope you're enjoying trenchometry. Assuming that you are, please hit that like button and subscribe. Remember, master the trench, you win the war.